Chanok Shine, 2nd Enoch 24. And Yahuah summoned me and said to me, Chanok, sit down on my left with Yahuah. And I bowed down to Yahuah. And Yahuah spoke to me, Chanok, beloved, all that you see, all things that are standing finished, I am telling you even before the very beginning, all that I created from not being, and visible things from the invisible. Hear, Chanok, and take in my words, for not to my angels have I told my secret, and I have not told them their rise, nor my endless realm, nor have they understood my creating, which I tell you today. For before all things were visible, I alone used to go about in the spiritual things, like the sun from the east to the west, and from the west to east. But even the sun has peace in itself, while I found no peace because I was creating all things, and I conceived the thought of placing foundations, of creating visible creation. I commanded in the very lowest parts that visible things should come down from spiritual, and Edoel came down very great, and I beheld him and said, Lo, he had a belly of great light. And I said to him, Become undone, Edoel, and let the visible come out of you. And he came undone, and a great light came out, and I was in the midst of the great light. And as there is born light from light, there came forth a great age. And I showed all creation which I had thought to create, and I saw that it was good. And I placed for myself a throne, and took my seat on it, and said to the light, Go from there up higher, and fix yourself above the throne, and be a foundation to the highest things. And above the light there is nothing else. And then I bent up and looked up from my throne, and I summoned the very lowest a second time, and said, Let Archus come forth hard. And he came forth hard from the spiritual, and Archus came forth hard, heavy, and very red. And I said, Be open, Archus, and let there be born from you. And he came undone, and an age came forth very great and very dark, bearing the creation of all lower things. And I saw that it was good, and said to him, Go from there down below, and make yourself firm, and be a foundation for the lower things. And it happened, and he went down and fixed himself, and became the foundation for the lower things. And below the darkness there is nothing else. And I commanded that there should be taken from light a darkness. And I said, Be thick. And it became thus. And I spread it out, the light, and it became water. And I spread it out over the darkness below the light. And then I made firm the waters, that is to say, the bottomless, and I made foundation of light around the water and created 7 circles from inside and imaged the water like crystals, wet and dry. That is to say, like glass, and the circumcision of the waters and the other elements, and I showed each one of them its road, and the 7 stars, each one of them in its heaven, and they go thus, and I saw that it was good. And I separated between light and between darkness, that is to say, in the midst of the water here and there. And I said to the light that it should be the day, and to the darkness that it should be the night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. 28. And then I made firm the heavenly circle, and made the lower water, which is under heaven, to collect itself together into one whole, that the chaos would become dry, and it became so. And out of waves I created rock, hard and big, and from the rock I piled up the dry, and the dry I called earth, and the midst of the earth I called abyss, that is to say, the bottomless. I collected the sea in one place and bound it together with a yoke. And I said to the sea, behold, I give you eternal limits, and you shall not break loose from your component parts. Thus I made fast the expanse. This day I called the first created. And for all the heavenly troops I imaged the image and the essence of fire. And my eye looked, and the very hard firm rock, and from the gleam of my eye the lightning received its all wonderful nature, which is both fire in water and water in fire, and one does not put out the other, and nor does the one dry up the other. Therefore the lightning is brighter than the sun, softer than water, and firm than hard rock. And from the rock I cut off a great fire, and from the fire I created the orders of the incorporeal, 10 troops of angels, and their weapons are the orders are fiery, and their raiment a burning flame. And I commanded that each one should stand in his order. And one from out of the order of angels, having turned away with the order that was under him, conceived an impossible thought, to place his throne higher than the clouds above the earth, that he might become equal in rank to my power. And I threw him out from the height of his angels, and he was flying in the air continuously above the bottomless. On the 3rd day I commanded the earth to make grow great and fruitful trees, and hills, and seed to sow. And I planted paradise, and enclosed it, and placed as armed guardians flaming angels, and thus I created renewal. Then came evening, and came morning, the 4th day. On the 4th day I commanded that there should be great lights on the heavenly circles. On the first uppermost circle I placed stars, Chanok, and on the second, and on the 3rd, Aris, and on the 5th, Zoas, on the 6th, Hermes, on the 7th, Lesser, the moon, and I adorned it with the lesser stars, and on the lower I placed the sun for the illumination of the day, and the moon and the stars for the illumination of the night. The sun, that it should go according to each constellation 12, and I appointed the succession of the months and their names and lives, their thunderings and their hour makings, how they should succeed. Then evening came and morning came, the 5th day. On the 5th day I commanded the sea that it should bring forth fishes and feathered birds and many varieties of all animals creeping all over the earth, going forth over the earth on 4 legs and soaring in the air, male, sex, and the female, and every soul breathing the ruach of life. And there came evening, and there came morning, the 6th day. On the 6th day I commanded my wisdom to create man from 7 consistencies. 1, his flesh from the earth. 2, his blood from the dew. 3, his eyes from the sun. 4, his bones from stone. 5, his intelligence from the swiftness of the angels and from the cloud. 6, his veins, and his hair from the grass of the earth. 7, his soul from my breath and from the wind. And I gave him 7 natures to the flesh, hearing, and the eyes for sight, and the soul, smell, the veins for touch, the blood for taste, the bones for endurance, to the intelligence, sweetness. I conceived a cunning saying to say, I created man from invisible and from visible nature. Of both are his death and life. An image he knows, speech like some created thing, small in greatness and again great in smallness. And I placed him on earth, a second angel, honorable, great, and glorious. And I appointed him as ruler to earth, on earth, and to have my wisdom, and there was none like him of earth, of all my existing creatures. And I appointed him a name from the 4 component parts, from east, from west, from south, from north. And I appointed for him 4 special stars, and I called his name Adam, and showed him the 2 ways, the light and the darkness. And I told him, this is good, that is bad, that I should learn whether he has love towards me or hatred, that it is be clear which in his race love me. For I have seen his nature, but he has not seen his own nature. Therefore, by not seeing his will, sin worse. And I said, after sin, what is there but death? And I put sleep into him, and he fell asleep. And I took from him a rib and created him a wife, that death should come to him by his wife. And I took his last word and called her name the mother of life, that is to say, Chua. Adam has life on earth, and I created a garden in Eden in the east, that he should observe and testament and keep the command. I made the heavens open to him, and he should see the angels singing the song of victory and the gloomless light. And he was continuously in paradise. And the devil understood that I wanted to create another world, because Adam was Adonai on earth, to rule and control it. The devil is the evil ruach of the lower places. As a fugitive, he made Satana from the heavens, as his name was Santhanel. Thus he became different from the angels, but his nature did not change. His intelligence, as far as his understanding of righteousness and sinful things. He understood his common and sin which he had sinned before. Therefore he conceived thought against Adam. In such form he entered and seduced Chua, but did not touch Adam. But I cursed ignorance, but what I had blessed previously, thus I did not curse. I cursed not man, nor the earth, nor other creature, but man's evil fruit and his works. I said to him, Earth, you are, and into the earth from where I took you, you shall go, and I will not ruin you, but send you there where I took you. Then I can again receive you at my second presence. And I blessed all my creatures, visible and spiritual. And Adam was 5.5 hours in paradise. And I blessed the seventh day, which is the Sabbath, on which he rested from all his works. And I appointed the 8th day also, that the 8th day should be the first created after my work, and that the first 7 resolve in the form of the 70,000, and that at the beginning of the 8th years, nor months, nor weeks, nor days, nor hours. And now, Chanok, all that I have told you, all that you have understood, all that you have seen of heavenly things, and that you have seen on earth, and that all that I have written in Sephirim be my great wisdom. All these things I have devised and created from the uppermost foundation to the lower, and to the end, and there is no counselor nor inheritor to my creations. I myself, not made with hands and without change. My thought is my counselor, my wisdom and my word are made, and my eyes observe all things, how they stand, hear, and tremble with terror. If I turn away my face, then all things will be destroyed. And apply your mind, Chanok, and now, and know him who is speaking to you, and take from there the Sephirim which you yourself have written. And I give you Samuel and Raguel, and who led you up to the Sephirim, and go down to the earth and tell your sons all that I have told you, and all that you have seen from the lower heaven up to my throne, and all the troops. For I created all forces, and there is none that resists me, or that does not subject themselves to me. For all subject themselves to my monarchy, and labor for my sole rule. Give them the Sephirim of the handwriting, and they will read them and will know me for the creator of all things, and will understand how there is no other Elohim but me. So this comes from the book of Chanok, second book. His name's called Enoch today. And basically what this is when Chanok actually spoke with the Most High. He was in the high heaven. There are a lot of fake YouTubers, fake people out there who claim to actually have gone into heaven. And they say all these things about what they've seen and but yet they come back with nothing. They come back with no writings. They come back with no wisdom. And not only that, These people that are going up in heaven are absolute sinners to the worst. I mean, stinking, disgusting sinners claiming that they're getting called into heaven to meet with the Most High. For what? For what knowledge did you receive? Janet gets called into heaven, and now you all get to receive a part that should be in Genesis that you did not know. Because those facts right there that I just gave you, I mean, that says a lot about creation. A whole lot about creation and what's going on. Tells you the days and what he did. That's a whole lot of information. But yet, you still have these bums that come in, oh yeah, I was taken into heaven and I saw this and I saw that. But yet, not one of them can say that they saw any of the things that Chanok saw. Any of the things. Or any of the things Paul seen. Or Baruch. These people are liars, and you need to stop feeding into your lies. You can buy this book too, and you can read it for yourself. Start calling these people out on their lies. Read the information for yourself. If you don't like my voice, then you know what? Put it on mute.